Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine 18 Tarot and Books. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome or welcome back. This is a VR to a tag called You in the Tarot by AardeKracht Kristallen, and I'm going to link the original video below. I'm also going to link my friend Wesley over at 22 Zines VR because it was Wesley's VR that inspired me to make one as well. I had seen this tag right around when it started, I think, which was a while ago now, and I had seen a few VRs, and I initially thought that maybe this wouldn't be one that I would do because it's one that has the potential to be quite personal and quite intimate in ways that perhaps I didn't want to have on my channel, and so I didn't, jump on doing it really early, but I've decided to do it. I think it's a great tag, so why not? I've enjoyed seeing other folks' VRs. There are 5 prompts, and the prompts are how society sees you, how your family sees you, how your friends see you, how you would love to be seen, and who you actually are. And so the idea is that you're going to end up with 2 cards for each prompt. First, you pick a card for each prompt, from a deck face up, looking at the cards, choosing the one that you feel best fits the prompt. And then on video, as part of the VR, you shuffle a deck, probably a different deck, and see what comes up, drawing 1 card for each prompt. And think about perhaps the differences between what you chose consciously versus what came up when you shuffled. So it's an interesting tag. I like it a lot. For my chosen cards, I picked from the Queer Tarot, fairly new deck to my collection. I picked this deck because it's a quite straightforwardly Smith-Waite style deck, fully illustrated, and so I could use those meanings as the jumping off point for thinking about, which card would go with each prompt. And for shuffling, I'm going to use the Many Queens Tarot by Letty Jane Rennekamp. The Many Queens Tarot is a favorite, and it's specifically a favorite kind of self-love, self-care deck, even though it has too many eyes. I look past them. They're on the back. I can live with it. So that's my plan for this VR. The first prompt is how society sees you. And I think that different elements of society see me in quite different ways. And I think probably most people would say the same thing. So I thought of this in terms of kind of my public image, or, people who meet me who haven't encountered me before, how they might see me. And I picked the Queen of Swords. I really like this particular Queen of Swords. And I chose the Queen of Swords because I have an academic background. I think that when people meet me, they can tell that I have an academic background, and my career has involved a lot of what I would think of as kind of swords-related work, communication-related work, a lot of public speaking, writing, and publishing. And so, the Queen of Swords, I think, suits that, needing to be the authoritative communicator in a room, working in education, for example. I also think that the Queen of Swords as a figure is a really take no shit kind of figure. And I would say that I come across that way. I can be pretty blunt and say what I think, and even when it's perhaps not considered to be the time to do so, but I tend to be pretty straightforward. And I think in terms of, perhaps on the more negative side of a card like this, that I can possibly come across as a bit detached and a bit harsh. I've been told by people who are now close friends that when they met me and were getting to know me, that they thought that I didn't like them. And that was never true. Like, why would I dislike somebody that I'd never met, and didn't know anything about, particularly somebody who maybe we have mutual friends or something like that? I wouldn't assume that they were horrible or anything. But I have been told that I give off dislike, basically. So that there's maybe some I don't know if it's standoffishness or that I'm awkward and a little bit shy making new friends. And, I struggle certainly to just reach out to people and be like, hey, do you want to hang out? Let's be friends. And I know that, a lot of people have that challenge, when you're not in school anymore and don't necessarily have these really obvious places of like, this is where I'm going to make friends. It can be hard to reach out and say that you want to make a friend. And so I think that the Queen of Swords, there is this aspect of not necessarily the most approachable. And I think that in terms of how I'm seen by people who don't know me, I think that fits, actually. The second one is how your family sees you. And again, I mean, my family is a lot of different individuals, and I'm thinking here in terms of my biological family. And I think that, my relationships with people in my biological family vary pretty widely. Some of those are quite close relationships, and some of them are non-existent. So trying to think in a kind of overall and trying to not cheat and pick a million cards for the same prompt and only picking one, I picked the Seven of Wands as how my family sees me. And I think that in terms of positive aspects of this card that my family would say, in terms of what I am like, I think that my family, all of them really, would say that I'm a person who has strong boundaries with people and strong boundaries with my family. I think that they would also say that I'm someone who questions things, who challenges things, who doesn't just kind of go with the way things have always been done because they've always been done that way. Whether that's, when it comes to family dinners and wanting to be having vegan food and things like this, that I don't just go along with things. I can be challenging at times, and not one to just defer, I guess, to others. I think that in terms of more negative aspects of this card, I think that some of my family members would say that I might be, rebellious for the sake of it. Certainly in my teen years when I was still living at home, my parents might say that I was combative in some ways, not physically combative or anything, but was somebody who really wanted to go my own way regardless of what anybody else was telling me that I should be doing, and also can be someone who's quite set in my ways as well, who's not necessarily wanting to listen to suggestions. I don't think of this as a negative card though, and in choosing this for how my family sees me, I don't want to imply that I think my entire family doesn't like me or something. Not at all. I have a good relationship with my siblings, my one currently living grandparent, and my parents, really. I do think, though, that they might even say that I'm sometimes difficult, and this could be difficult. And I don't think that that's difficult in a bad way. I don't think that sticking to positions that you care about and maintaining boundaries with people who might prefer that your boundaries were different is a bad thing. I don't. So that's why I picked this card, Seven of Wands, for how my family sees me. How my friends see me. This was an easier choice, actually. And I picked the Knight of Pentacles as how my friends see me. I think the people who really know me and who are close friends would say that I am reliable, that I am consistent, that I'm honest, and that I'm principled, and that I'm someone who, can be counted on to do the things that they say they're going to do, to be there when they say they're going to be there, to be solid in a friendship. I also think that good friends would say, that I am solid in who I am, and that I don't, I don't let people off easy on nonsense just because we're friends. And I think the Knight of Pentacles is very much like that. They're very steady and consistent. And I think that my friends would say that I am steady and consistent. I think that I am, as a friend, not somebody who surprises people. I am consistent in my friendships and reliable. And I think that this is a very positive card. And I think that, in terms of how my friends see me, of course, I think my friends like me and think positively of me, and that's why we're friends. But I think that they would say, very reliable, very consistent, and someone who can be leaned on consistently. So that's how my friends see me, the Knight of Pentacles. How I would love to be seen. And this is a little bit, I think how I would love to be seen is also a little bit how I would like to be. Like how I would like to be and have others recognize it. And so for that, I picked the Magician, actually. And there was a couple of cards I could have picked for this, for sure. Like there's a lot of different things that I could come up with in terms of how I would like to be seen or how I would like to be more like. But I think that the Magician is confident, and I think that the Magician is somebody who uses the things that they have available to them to good effect and effectively, who uses their skills and their talents effectively and to good ends. I think that the Magician has a really strong sense of agency. And I think the Magician is somebody who really kind of steers their own life, who's not just reacting to things that happen, but is really actively making things happen for themselves. And I would like to be seen as somebody who, is effective in the magic that they try to work and the things that they try to do and the work that they do, and who's confident, not arrogant, but confident in their skills and capabilities. I'm certainly not always. I don't think anybody is. And I also think that the Magician, as a magician has a little air of mystery as well. And I might like to be seen as having a little air of mystery. Finally, the last one is who you actually are. And I think that, for a lot of us who read tarot and have read tarot for a very long time would say, there's not one card that's this is who I am at my core as a person, right? And I don't read with significators to represent me, really. So I don't have a strong affinity, for example, to one particular court card as like, this is the card that represents me, as I know some people do. I can see, most if not all cards, as aspects of myself in one way or another and in one situation or another. But I had to pick one because that's how the tag works. So for who I actually am, I chose the Seven of Pentacles. And I like this card. This card, I think, speaks to who I am in that it is a card that I think is very deliberate. Like, I think the figure in the Seven of Pentacles or coins is very deliberate in their work and is somebody who takes their time and somebody who, frequently or ongoingly is assessing and reassessing, how they're doing things and why they think what they do. And they're very self-reflexive. And I think that I am that. I think that the negative side of that, I think, could be that it would tend towards being so self-questioning that you end up hesitant to act on things or something like self-critical, overly self-critical or overly critical of one's own work or one's own output. There can be a sense of this card being kind of analysis paralysis, like being stuck. But I think positively, this is a card that depicts somebody who cares about the outcomes of their actions and who, checks in with what they're doing and who is not afraid to reassess, who's not afraid to let go of things that aren't working, who's not afraid to take a new direction if need be, who, and who wants to put things out in the world that they feel good about and feel are good things. And so I think that, both some of the negative aspects of potentially being, overly self-questioning at times, but also the positive aspects of being reflexive and thoughtful. I think that this card, Seven of Pentacles, can represent who I am and a part of who I am. So that's the 5 that I chose. You can tell me below if you think you would have picked something else for me. If you think you know me well enough to say what you would think about this, you can tell me. I mean, don't tell me what you think my family sees me as, because that would be fucking weird. Unless you know my family, which I don't think anybody watching this channel does. But, if you want to tell me how you see me as a card, then you can do that. I consent to that. So now I'm going to shuffle each time rather than shuffle and just pull 5 cards all at once. So I'm shuffling for how society sees me. And this is a big deck, but it's not so big that it's hard to shuffle. How society sees me. How society sees me. I'll give it one more shuffle. Sometimes you don't know when to stop. How society sees me. Okay, that's one card, so I'm going to take that one. The 9 of Pentacles. That's luxurious. In terms of how society sees me, this is not one that I would have consciously picked at all. This person has a kind of gem in their hand. The 9 of Pentacles is how society sees me. I feel like if I can think of something from the 9 of Pentacles as how society sees me, what comes to mind right away is that this is a card of being alone. The person in the 9 of Pentacles has the things that they need and is enjoying things that they have. There's something, I think, sensual in terms of like relating to the senses about this card. This is a very earthy card. I have a Taurus moon, but the person is always enjoying what they have by themselves. And I am somebody who, tends toward having hobbies and things like that are kind of fairly inward looking, whether that's reading cards for myself or reading books. I am a bit of a homebody, I think, and not just for the last couple of years because it's been required to be. I am somebody who sticks close to home. I am somebody who enjoys pleasurable things, which is also something I think of in the 9 of Pentacles. I love good food, delicious food, and nice things, good, nice bed sheets and a nice lounge chair in the backyard, and, just being curled up and on the couch with the cat and enjoying quiet time, mostly by myself. And so I think that maybe comes across in terms of how society sees me as somebody who's enjoys their solo time. I'm definitely somebody who enjoys my solo time, and anybody who's in my life would know that. So that's what I would think of for the 9 of Pentacles. It would be really interesting if one of the ones that came up was one of the ones that I actually picked. That would be fun. How my family sees me. This is where these things get personal, right? How my family sees me. I'm going again with my birth family. And I'm thinking of chosen family when I do the next prompt. So how my family of origin sees me. Oh, and I left I'll keep shuffling. How my family sees me. I will say I left the Nine of Pentacles out, so I'm not going to get any repeats. I don't know if that was the intention or not. But how my family sees me. How my family of origin sees me. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I got the Seven of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles is the card that I chose for who I actually am. And now I got it for how my family sees me. I can, independent of the card meaning itself, I can think of that as perhaps meaning that at least some of my family, sees me as I think that I am, knows me well. And I would say that that's definitely true. My brother and I are really close in age, grew up together. My sister and I are further apart in age. We're, I think, 7 years apart. So didn't grow up in the same way, like with the same groups of friends and going to the same events and things like that. But we have a good relationship too. And I do think that they see me as I am, I would say. And I like that the person has hairy legs. Like me. Which is something that my grandmother is baffled by and that my mother doesn't like. But there it is. It's me, right? In terms of all the things I just said about the Seven of Pentacles when I chose it for myself, the Seven of Pentacles is somebody who, is deliberate. And I like that about this card. And so I like that it showed up as how my family sees me. As deliberate, perhaps erring on the side of self-critical at times, but who cares about their work? And I think my family would say that about me. I think that they would say that I really care about my work and the kinds of work that I do and what I put out there. So, yeah. And this person has a couple of different tools with them. They're an outdoorsy Seven of Pentacles, certainly, and capable. I like that came up for how my family sees me. How my friends see me. Or my chosen family. How my friends and chosen family see me. How do my friends see me? Oh my goodness. The Tower. Okay. My friends see me as the Tower. That's a lot. Okay, I think that my friends would say that like the Tower feels really dramatic, and I don't think that my friends see me that way, as dramatic or like explosive or any of those kinds of things that might come from the visual of the Tower at all. But I like the Tower card insofar as the Tower has to do with reorienting, has to do with having preconceived notions challenged in ways that make room for something new. I think that my friends might say that I might relate to this card in that way. Yeah. My friends see me as the Tower. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to think on this one so that I don't just sitting here in silence with you watching. The Tower. I mean, certainly, this one has a crown being blown off the tower. Certainly my friends would tell you that I am anti-authoritarian. And, a lot of my friends are people that I've met through activist contexts. So certainly, that sense of, combating aspects of the establishment that is the Tower, my friends would probably point to as well. That's what I can get from the Tower, is how my friends see me. Yeah, as a person who is anti-authoritarian and strives to foster non-hierarchical, reciprocal relationships, which could be, a flattening of the tower, I suppose. How I would love to be seen. And I picked the Magician for this. How I would love to be seen. Too many eyes. How I would love to be seen. I keep getting the same suit. The Six of Pentacles. How I would love to be seen. I think that, I feel complicatedly about the Six of Pentacles. I love that there's armpit hair in this Six of Pentacles. I think that, I would like to be seen as somebody who shares. I would like to be seen as somebody who is able to give and receive mutual aid, and who does so. Sometimes I feel like some Six of Pentacles, there's like a real sense of hierarchy in the card. Like it's, depending on whether you position yourself as the person who's giving or the person who's receiving, there's a sense of hierarchy in the card. But I always like Six of Pentacles that feel more like redistribution to me, redistributing resources where they're needed, and I work in the nonprofit sector, so thinking about it that way in terms of how I would love to be seen, I would love to be seen as somebody who's contributing positively to efforts to create a community that is more equitable, for sure. And I think the Six of Pentacles can be that as well. And also, being somebody who can ask for help, somebody who's not afraid to ask for help, which is something that I've been certainly working on, and being in an entirely new field, I'm asking for a lot of help in terms of how to do things and in terms of making sure I have the things I need to function well and function effectively. So I think there's that aspect of the Six of Pentacles as well, being involved in redistributive efforts. So now, the last one. Who I actually am. Who I actually am in one card. Oh, I'm making a mess here. But not in a good Rita Jumper way, just in things falling all over the place. Who I really am. Who I really am. The Seven of Wands, which is the card that I chose for how my family see me. So the card for how my family sees me and who I actually am have reverse. Which is really interesting. I am somebody with strong boundaries. I am somebody who will stand by my convictions, even if they're not making me popular. I am somebody who can be, at times, perhaps too set in my ways. And I think sometimes that can happen with the Seven of Wands too, where it's like I'm not budging. Maybe that's my natal Mars being in Taurus and my natal moon being in Taurus. You know, there's definitely some stubbornness, but I think that that's also being determined and being a determined person. And I can think of that as who I actually am, for sure. So, Seven of Wands. That's very interesting. So, that's my VR to you in the tarot. I am going to be thinking on what has come up here in relation to the things that I chose. It's very interesting. So, thank you so much for watching. I will look forward to, I hope, maybe some more VRs from this tag as well. I will see you all again soon. Wish you all a good day.